We said it on the show a week before the draft. There's no way any of the big five quarterbacks in the 2021 class were going to get past New England. They had to be picked in the top 15. And looks like Mack Jones was the last of the five to be picked, and he goes right at 15 to New England. We've already seen the Tom Brady comps getting thrown around when you see a guy who's not really that athletic, is a great decision maker, a cerebral pocket passer. That's what Mack Jones profiles to be. He was prolific at Alabama in 2020. He's going to start out behind Cam Newton, but Alex, what are your expectations for Mack Jones, and where are you taking him in Superflex rookie drafts?
Man, I swear I've seen this movie before. Bill Belichik just happens to have the perfect situation fall right into his lap. Doesn't have to move up from pick 15. And we all knew this was going to happen. We all knew Bill Belichik was somehow going to end up with Mack Jones. And of course, here we are. So you look at Mack, and man, I like him a lot as a prospect. I actually really also like the landing spot in New England with Bill Belichik long term, although I do have some concerns short term, which I'll get into here in a bit. But you look at Mack Jones, and his college production was absolutely insane. Didn't get the playing time until late in his Alabama career because of guys named Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. But, last season in 2020, he could have won the Heisman. If Devontae Smith wasn't such a dominant target hog for him at Alabama, he probably would have won the Heisman. 4,500 yards.
If Jalen Waddle was healthy.
Yeah, 100%. 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions on a 77% completion percentage. That's insane. It's 346 yards and 3 touchdowns per game on average with pretty much 0 interceptions. It's ridiculous. So he does have good size, or good enough size, I should say. Nothing, ridiculous. His strengths and weaknesses to me are just very, very obvious. His weaknesses are obviously his mobility, but also his arm strength. He's not going to throw it 75 yards in the air like some of these Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen type guys. But he is accurate. He is a very cognitive passer. He's really able to manipulate defenses, which could be perfect in New England. Now, I think for 2021, it's going to be tough. I think he does start out the season behind Cam Newton, and he could not be more opposite than Cam Newton as a player. Their names are even opposite of each other, Cam and Mack. So,
whoa.
Yeah, mind blown, right? So he couldn't be more opposite. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in this offense, because if they start to build the offense around Cam and it's this running type of offense that we saw last season, it's going to be really weird to see Mack Jones come in and totally mix it up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Mack come in sooner rather than later and see them start to work on a totally different approach heading into the 2021 season. But the reason I'm concerned is really the weapons. And we could talk about the weapons all day. They're actually better than they were last season for Cam Newton, but you got Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne and Jacoby Myers at wide receiver. Assuming Julio doesn't get traded there, there's some rumors going on at the time of this recording, but we'll see. And then you've got Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry at tight end, which could be good. I think he'll really rely on those tight ends, but not a lot of help there for Mack Jones. That's my concern for him in 2021. But if he can get some playing time under his belt, not get thrown in there too early this season, and the Pats can build some weapons around him moving forward, I'm a big fan of Mack Jones and his game long term. We're not seeing these pocket passers that can't move around anymore. You have the older generation, the Peyton Mannings, the Tom Bradys, the Phillip Rivers, Big Ben. Now you got the mobile guys. So Mack Jones is kind of that old school type of pocket passer that's really able to do some things with his mind at the line of scrimmage. So I like him long term. Doesn't have the upside of a Trevor Lawrence, of a Trey Lance, of a Justin Fields in fantasy football or in Dynasty. But I think he could be a really solid quarterback for not only the New England Patriots, but also for some of these Dynasty teams.
I think you're sleeping on the arm strength a little bit, but I will concede with you that he's not a big physical specimen. He was pushing the ball downfield last year at Alabama, had a phenomenal yards per attempt. I know a lot of that was Devonta Smith and some of the other weapons there creating plays once they had the ball in their hands, but Mack Jones was able to deliver it near the line of scrimmage and deep downfield. But you're right, this New England team seems built around the run game and playing good defense, just like they did last year. The weapons aren't exceptional like you see with Trey Lance with the 49ers or even Trevor Lawrence with Jacksonville, who has a lot of young, high-potential weapons. But I will say this. Mack Jones is one free agent signing next year or one high-end draft pick next year away from having that alpha wide receiver one who can be a reliable weapon for him. And that's why I think you got to take him in the back of the first round One, because of the quarterback positional scarcity, but also because next year you have Allen Robinson, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, all as free agents potentially hitting the open market. And we know Mack Jones, from what he's done in college, people say he was a better player than Tua Tagovailoa, and that he's the most pro-ready prospect in this entire class across all positions. So you see a guy like that with the efficiency. Maybe they do bring some weapons in long term. You got the Bill Belichik narratives that allow you to retain some value with Mack Jones, even if he doesn't play year one. I think people are just looking at New England quarterback. You get the Tom Brady brand that's plastered all over that when you read it. And so I think even if Mack Jones doesn't play too much, you're still going to be able to move him for a long time. We know the draft capital is there. So sooner or later, the Patriots are going to give Mack Jones an opportunity to produce. I think you draft him back at that first round in Superflex, hold on to him, and see if he can produce when it is time. And we have guys like Derek Carr, like Kirk Cousins, that are serviceable QB2s in fantasy. So it's not like, oh, he doesn't run it all, he just sucks. There is a role to be played. There is a spot in fantasy football lineups for a Mack Jones type of player to come in, be efficient, throw touchdowns, and win you some weeks.